or a minute for the moment. So, all right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and begin the recording. I'm going to jump right into today's session, which is contacts and database inside of Command. Before I go into today's material, though, does anyone have any questions or thoughts from yesterday in yesterday's session on goal setting?
Sam, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Will this be taped as well? Because I noticed I'm subscribed to your YouTube channel. I noticed you put the one up from yesterday. Will this be uploaded as well?
Yes. Yeah, so I just started recording on this one. And for those of you who may not have got to my YouTube channel, if you go to incommandwithsam.com, that'll take you directly to my YouTube channel. And yeah, if you want to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, you'll get an alert when I upload this. I have a playlist on my channel called In Class Recordings. It's where you can find any class that I've recorded. I also have other videos that I create that are shorter, that are usually like 5, 10, 12 minutes of like quick snippets of things that you can do inside of Command without watching an hours-long class as well. But it's incommandwithsam.com. I highly recommend going to that website because if you go to Sam Jackson, or excuse me, if you go to YouTube and search Sam Jackson, you're going to find a much cooler bald guy with a lot more videos than me online. Cool. Awesome. But yeah, you'll see the recording up there, and then the rest of the week as well. All right. Any other questions? Cool. All right. Can y'all see my screen? I have a document up called Lead Generation Model. Perfect. Thank you, Adrian. Let me go ahead and pull this bad boy up. Cool. We got one page. All right. So again, this is going from the MREA. This is the red book that we talk about a lot. This is the lead generation model. This is the second model from Keller Williams in our training. What I'm showing you today is all new material. This is all the stuff that wasn't released in the first version. This is the newest, latest model that's going to be published with the newest version of the book, MREA 2, whenever that comes out. So what we're going to see is kind of some snippets as to what's changed since 2004 when we last wrote the book on lead generation. There's one big invention that didn't exist in 2004 that exists today, and one of those is social media. So I'm excited for the reprint of it and some of the tactics and strategies, but we're going to dig into a little bit of just the basics of a lead generation model. What does it mean to have a database, and making sure that y'all have some confidence on what is it we're building. And I want y'all to think big. Just like with goal setting, one of the biggest mistakes that agents make is they don't think big enough with their database. They start thinking about, all right, who can I put in my database? How can I collect some names? And we don't think about creating goals for our database. How big do I want that to be? Cool. So let's go ahead and jump into the material. So this right here should look somewhat familiar. This is just kind of like a little bit of a different take on that funnel that we looked at yesterday. This is just kind of like the updated graphic that we're going to probably use inside the new publication of the book. I'll be honest with you, I've now seen like 4 different versions of this, so this probably isn't going to be the one that gets published anyways, but you'll see basically the same concept. And what this is, I'm just going to call it a funnel, because that's traditionally what we call this inside of sales, or your pipeline, but this is the model. Our first task, the first thing that we need to do on top of our screen right here, is capture leads. Nothing else is possible unless we're getting in contact with people and capturing their information. And there are so many companies that are so good at this these days. This used to require that you had to, sign up for information, or you became some part of someone's like email marketing campaigns. But like now, whenever you go shop at Kroger or Publix or whatever grocery store, every time you type in your telephone number, or you swipe your loyalty card, or every time you log into Amazon, you are part of someone else's database. It's time that you think about acting like an Amazon, acting like a Netflix, and how do I build a database myself? And it all starts with capturing the information. In fact, you'll see that happens even before the your database part. We have to first get the information and then decide if they become a lead or a contact. Now, not skipping it too far, underneath lead capture, you'll notice that there are 2 things here called prospecting and marketing. And this is a part that we'll discuss, and you can even kind of see the model inside of the MREA book. We can do several types of lead generation. We can prospect and we can market. Does anyone want to take a shot at the difference between prospecting and marketing? And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It was very similar to the conversations we had yesterday between the difference between a lead and a contact. Very similar, these two definitions.
I'm thinking one I might have more of like more of a relationship with. The other one could be I'm just not introducing, or I'm just like, one seems to be a little bit more passive, and the other, like, I'm just like strategically trying to I guess strengthen a relationship or have a request for something.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Anyone want to add to that?
Yeah, I remember you saying the difference between a one-way conversation versus a two-way conversation. So prospecting would be just me, like us talking, trying to get them or I don't know, trying to get information out of them or to see if they're interested in being on the market or buying or whatnot, versus the next step would be, okay, now they're inquiring about it. Now they're reaching out to us.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's the great way of tying a lead and a contact into this. And to kind of break down prospecting and marketing, I love the word passive that you used as well. Prospecting means that I'm the person reaching out and making the contact. I am contacting the individual. With marketing, it means that I'm putting something out there in the world and that person's contacting me. So really the difference between prospecting and marketing is who's initiating the conversation. And which is really funny because I could say things like, all right, well, what is Facebook? Is that prospecting or marketing?
I guess it depends on how you use it.
Could be both.
Kind of both.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Yeah.
If I'm private messaging people on Facebook, that's prospecting. If I'm just putting a post about how great the market is and some things you may have heard in the team meeting today, that's marketing. So
let me ask you this quickly. So if I post something, and of course that's marketing, that's prospecting. If they send me a DM, is it now I'm marketing to them the next piece, or at what point has it changed?
So if you're posting, like if you're just writing something on your wall or something like that, that'd be marketing.
Okay.
Think of that as like no different than a digital billboard. I put something out there for people to get engaged with, and then they contacted me. That makes it marketing.
Okay.
I put something value-based out, they responded. Prospecting is I initiated the conversation directly to that individual.
Okay, so marketing will be massive. Individual, like the belly to belly, as they say, would be no, I got
personal.
it.
Yeah, personal. Yeah, unique and personal. Yeah, you got it. Now here's the thing. This is the number one thing that got replaced or misrepresented in the first time that we wrote MREA. Back in 2004, Gary Keller wrote in the book that the top agents are marketing based and prospecting enhanced. And shortly after publication, we realized that was probably the biggest mistake that we ever said out loud. The best agents are prospecting based, marketing enhanced. So prospecting, and we kind of talked about this yesterday, would be, I'm going to go call for sale by owners and expireds. I'm going to go door knocking. That is prospecting. And then we enhance that with things like billboards or Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. But our number one lever, if you will, should be something prospecting based. And this is why I 1000% love real estate, is that no one's going to tell you this is what you have to do. You get to find the thing that you love to do. For me, I would be okay calling expires and for sale by owners. Like those would be the two things that I would choose to do in prospecting because I'm good on the phone. I have no problem with scripts and dialogue. I shared yesterday that I would suck at door knocking. I would be knocking on the door saying, please don't be home, please don't be home, please don't be home. That's not the case for all of us. Some of you may thrive in it. And then I would enhance my business with marketing. I'm great with social media and advertising. I do that really well. So I would say focus on your prospecting. Do not get distracted by the marketing aspect. It seems easy to do and it seems like you're doing things, but we know that the numbers and, kind of working smarter is working with the prospecting aspect of that, not the marketing. Prospecting is working smart. Marketing is, again, playing that numbers game, working hard. Cool. All right. But the first thing we have to do is either we're prospecting or we're marketing, We're getting people into our database. And then that's where we see that we have this conversation inside our head. Is this a lead? Is this a contact? How do I treat a lead? How do I treat a contact? And the ultimate goal, is you'll see when we're in between phases 2 and 3 here, is relationship management. I really want to stress, again, I want to teach y'all the best practices for today, not what we did 1,000 years ago in real estate. What does the word relationship mean to you?
Some type of connection with another individual.
Yeah, I love both of those words. A connection with an individual. I love connection. I want to get to know the person. I want to get to know about them, the individual. How many of you, or it could just be me, have got a private message from that random girl from high school that you didn't talk to 25 years ago? And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my goodness, I saw your family, so cute. By the way, I'm selling Beachbody. You want to lose weight this summer? And you're like, you hooked me. I thought you were a decent person for a second. And then you used me because you want me to go drink Shakeology or buy yoga pants or whatever it is you're doing. No offense to our MLMs out there. I think it's a great side hustle. But like, where they miss the mark is that they go directly for the throat with the sale every single time. If they would take the time to build the relationship, that opportunity for business would open up. It's a long game. It's not always a long game. Sometimes these things pop up. You can be really smart. And if you understand why people move, you can identify your opportunity to shoot your shot. But if you're saying, oh my goodness, it's been so great, I'm talking to you in 10 years, do you want to buy a house from me? Hell no, I'm buying a house from you. So think about that. It is relationship management. I want to get to know the person. One of the favorite things that I teach, and it's on my list here to make a video for y'all to on my channel. If you ever see a class that I teach called relationship-based databases, or you hear the words FORD, F-O-R-D, take a look at those videos or those classes I think I've done a recent recording on those. I'll see if I can get that out to y'all. It's different ways and scripts and dialogues that you can get in better relationships to uncover these real estate needs without being the MLM. Cool. All right. And then step number 3 is that we want to prepare these contacts, these people, for conversion. The conversion is that we're taking a personal relationship and converting it into a transactional relationship. So let me ask a really fun question. Has anyone moved recently? In the last 2 years?
Yes, I just moved here a few months ago.
That's right. You moved from California. Is that right?
Correct.
If it's not too personal of me asking, why did you move?
I'm originally from Alabama, and I have a son, and I wanted him to be closer with his family. So I wanted to get the feel of a bigger city that's close enough to home, but not be there. So.
Okay. Did anything spark that desire to get closer to family? Did you have and you don't have to share if there's anything specific, but were there any type of lifestyle or personal changes in your life that kicked off that spark to get closer to family?
My mom got sick last year.
Yeah. And that basically created it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to understand that people don't move for fun. Sick individuals move for fun. It's not a fun thing. It's a task. And if you can understand why people move, and you can have conversations and ask questions to get to know people, those real estate needs would pop up. So I teach quite often. I'll give you a really quick snippet of today. It's a model called FORD, F-O-R-D. And it stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And I'm going to get in trouble with our PCs for saying this. I was never a scripts guy. I've always internalized what I wanted to say, and I had an idea of what it is that I wanted to talk about, a dialogue. But I never loved the scripts that said, hey, this is Sam Jackson with Keller Williams. Are you looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate today? No. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate today? Well, the next time that you hear anyone that's looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, we make sure that you give them my number. Like, that stuff sucked to me. I hated it. It was painful and it stunk. And that's the old way of real estate. Now, we have obviously way more advanced scripts than what I just kind of rambled off and being comedic today. But my goal is I use the Ford model, family, occupation, recreations, and dreams, to get to know people. And it doesn't even matter if I'm using it for real estate purposes or if I just want to get stronger relationships with my friends and my family and everyone else in life. How's the family? F. How's the job? How's the occupation? O. What are you doing for fun these days? Recreation. What are your hopes and dreams? Like, what do you want to do post-COVID? What do you most miss because of COVID? FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Now, here's the thing. People move because of what happens in the F and what happens in the O. For the first time ever in history, people moved because of R&D this year in COVID. They figured if I'm going to be stuck at my house, I'm going to have a house that I can have some recreation in. And we saw a lot of second home purchases, a lot of vacation homes purchases, things like that. It's the first time that's ever happened. But just from a foundation, if you can get to know what people are doing in their family, what's going on with their job, you can tell if there's a real estate need or not. Birth, death, marriage, engagement, divorce, job loss, job gain, job promotion. There's a good and a bad on each side of those things, but those are things that kick off lifestyle changes that force people to move. So here's the really, really funny part of this. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, they do a study every single year. Buy it once, the numbers never change. So buy it 1 year and then never spend the $300 to do it again. But they do a survey of buyer and seller profiles to get to know why people are moving and what they're doing. But it'll give you some really fun insights. And one of the things that I really enjoy is it talks about couples who are expecting a baby. So there is a 2-year gap or 2-year window. The year before the birth of a child or the year after the birth of a child, 33% of couples move during that 2-year window. So if I just call my database and say, hey, this is Sam Jackson with Keller Williams, do you know a pregnant person? I'd have a pretty good chance of getting a listing that day. Now, I'm being really funny. You'd be a creep if you use that script. But the goal is that I want to say, hey, how's your sister? How's your brother-in-law? Like, he just got married. What's their plans? Like, dig deep. Like, how so-and-so? Tell me more. And it's just a series of asking questions about their family and their job. And these real estate needs will pop up. And then without being the crappy MLM, you want to lose 10 pounds by Beachbody? It's like, hey, what are they doing for space? Are they going to need more room? Things like that. So I love Ford because it's more of a dialogue of asking the questions. And if you understand how that works, it can be a dream for you. All right. I need to get off my soapbox. I spent too much time on that. Was that helpful though?
It was, but I'm just curious to know, how would you kind of start that conversation? So if it's not a cold call, you don't have to go through all the details, but I was curious to know. I guess for me, it seemed like you're kind of beating around the bush, and I'm pretty much the opposite of that. I'm like, get to the point. Don't warm me up, because more than likely you've lost me. Like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying?
So here's the point with your conversations. It's relationship management. The only intent of my phone call is to get in a stronger relationship with that person. I am not going into that phone conversation expecting a listing or expecting a buyer. I'm going into that phone call with the expectation I'm building a stronger relationship today. So if you have that mindset with it, you're not beating around the bush, you're not having small talk, your number one goal is to get into a stronger relationship with that person. Now, here's the thing. I like to talk about this because this is the threat to real estate agents. If we remove that human to human connection in real estate, Zillow will wipe your ass out tomorrow. Pardon my French. There are some serious threats with technology to make this really, really easy to cut the real estate agent and the real estate commission out of this. But if you can form personal relationships and uncover people's needs before they get to Zillow, that's where you win this game. Cool. All right. We're going to zip through a lot of this because I want to get into the technical part of it, man. So sorry if y'all feel cheated. But here's the purpose of a database. It's building a predictable business around people who know you. That makes a huge difference. When you call people who know you, this game's a lot easier. They know you, they like you, they trust you, and are willing to do business with you. Now, I don't think I actually introduced myself yesterday. I'm a former team leader. I used to run a Keller Williams office in Pittsburgh for about 2.5 years before I moved down here for the technology position. I would meet just like what you did with many of your team leaders of, hey, I'm interested in getting in real estate. What can you, go through that whole interview process. And here's the advice that I would give new agents coming in the industry. The number one group that you want to focus on are people who know you, like you, and trust you. The one thing that we don't know is if they're willing to do business with you. People are going to know you, like you, trust you, and even love you because they are family. And you're going to see success your first year because they're willing to do business with you. That's not to say that the people who don't do business with you out of that core group don't love you. They love your relationship, that they'd rather you go get your sea legs out with some other people before they start testing on family friends. They want to like cherish that relationship. But like your success in these first year could have a lot to do with building a core group of people around you who know you, like you, trust you, and are willing to do business with you. I call this the target test. If I were to run into any person in my database, will they acknowledge that I exist at Target? Would we give a head nod? Would we give a wave? Would we stop and have a conversation? Do they know me? Do they know me enough to like stop, pause, and maybe have a conversation? Cool. So why do we have a database? It's to avoid the today trap. And the today trap, it's fires, it's distractions. And I think it was Dwayne who kind of mentioned it before the call too, we were on earlier. There's so much going on right now. There's training, there's competing trainings, and there's all these classes that you can go to. Honestly, even the training that you're in right now, you get more value going and calling your database than you would spending the hour with me. Even training can sometimes be a distraction and a trap. You have to be careful with it. Just because you see something really cool on the calendar, you have to ask yourself, hey, can I watch that recording whenever maybe it's a better time versus lead generating right now? That's why you won't see any of my classes in the morning. Lead generation is best done in the morning. Get out of the way. It's the most important thing in the day. Cool. You also want to make sure that your database is worth something. Do you have a documented ROI? And this is where I want to talk about the medical industry. Have any of you ever like belonged to a doctor's office, like a primary care physician, and that doctor's office was purchased or you had a new doctor come in? That happened to anybody?
That's just happened to me through Kaiser Permanente. I went through the system and I'm looking for Dr. Nguyen. I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
They've assigned me someone else.
And that building and that practice probably still exists, right? It's just no longer.
It is.
Yeah. So what did that new doctor purchase?
I guess his people. Well, I don't know if they purchased them, but she's acquired them.
Oh, they purchased them. Yeah, don't get that for free. Yeah, they bought the database. And here's the thing. Why is a doctor's database so valuable?
I'm thinking just a pipeline of people, and you got history. You have he has intimate knowledge, baseline data, just trends.
That industry requires that you literally document everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you've had that customer, that patient for a long time, you have literally every medical record on them. You know their history. Mm-hmm. There is value in the data. That's why a lot of times you'll hear Keller Williams called a data bank and not a database, because it's worth money. And so what we're looking at, or what that doctor looks at before they decide to before they purchase that practice, is they want to know, did that previous doctor have repeat customers, patients? Did he train them to come back? And how many of those people gave them referrals? Same thing in real estate. And again, I know the majority of you are new and building your database for the first time. There's a joke in real estate. Has anyone ever heard the joke about the real estate agent that retired? Me either. There's not one. There's no punchline there. There's never been a real estate agent that retired, because like they never think big enough to sell a database off. They just think, all right, well, I'll just sit on this forever, because I'll just do one more deal. I'll keep my license. I'll do one more deal. What's one more? Like, you'll be 90 years old and still saying like, what's one more deal? I would say that if you think about your database as like something that you can retire with, just like investing in a home, invest in your real estate business, invest in your database. And what we're looking for, things that would make sense that I would want to purchase from you, would be, how much data do you have? Is the data good? Do you have good contact information? Is the cell phone number good? Is it a working telephone number? Can you tell me the connections? Can you tell me if there's a family connection? Do you have spouses and kids and children and all that mapped out inside of your database? How many people in your database are trained to use you? How many of those are repeat customers? How many of those customers refer other customers? And there's a monetary value that we can figure out to that, just like how we did the math yesterday with how many contacts do I need in order to get some units? We can figure out like how much is your database worth if we just communicate to it for the next 10 years. It's millions. It's a lot of money. And we're starting to see a lot of agents who started with KW 30 years ago starting to do what we call this golden handoff. They've now partnered with agents who are up and coming, who have established business and are buying out their database because they've collected the right information over time and they're sitting on millions of dollars. And it's easy to get to millions of dollars when you're collecting $10,000 commissions at a time. That adds up pretty quickly. Cool. All right. Really quickly, how do we do it? These are what we call the 4 laws of the database right here. Underneath, how do you do it? Feed it consistently, segment it into groups, engage it with a touch plan, and tend to it over time. So feed it consistently, add to it, constantly be adding to your database. Go run a Facebook ad, go sit in an open house, go door knock. Just don't go door knock, collect a whole bunch of names on a sheet of paper and then just throw that on your desk. Put it into an electronic system that you can track moving forward. That way there you have contact information, you can follow up with them. Segment it into groups. My goodness, I cannot stress the importance of this one the most. If I can personally say that this is the most important one, I'd put my stamp on it. How many of you have a Netflix account at home? How many of you share that overall Netflix account with like multiple profiles with like kids, family, spouses, other folks? Yeah. What happens whenever somebody else hacks your account?
Oh, it starts changing all my categories and stuff that I don't want.
My kids accidentally watched Trolls on my account like 6 months ago. I still can't get my algorithm fixed. It ruined Netflix for me. And Netflix used to be sweet. I used to go in there and like, I'd take the recommendations and, explore new things. Think about Netflix for a second. They have how many millions of people in their database, and they've segmented those people very specifically. Just looking at my household, I don't know if it's for entertainment or research purposes. My wife is all into those murder mysteries. 100%. When I open up like her profile, it's just murder, 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 murder. When you open up my kids, it's all the fun opposite murder stuff. It's all the fun kid stuff, that you see through the cartoons. And mine, like all I've ever watched is like The Office and some like nature documentaries. So like when I log in, Netflix knows me. They know that I watch nature documentaries and sitcoms like The Office. They know that my wife watches murder mysteries. So the goal with your database, think like Netflix. How do I break my people into these same groups? I'm not saying that you need to know what shows they watch on Netflix, but get to know them personally. I'll share my database with you in a minute. How many of you, whenever you signed up with this, you filled out like a questionnaire or survey from Leanza? There are some questions on there that got to know you. We asked some things that you're interested in. We use that to segment our database. We want to know what interests you. Are you into travel? What unique trick do you have? Are you bilingual in another language? Because we're going to use that to help us within our own database. And our goal is to be able to invite you to very specific classes based on things that you need, because we got to know you personally. I didn't pitch you to come to class today. We're getting to know you personally. And we're going to figure out what motivates you. Cool thing is we're not selling anything. We're just helping you. Cool. All right, next, and this is why I think segmenting is so important. It becomes engaging so much easier. I'm going to stick with the example. If Netflix were to send me a bunch of murder mystery marketing material, if they're sending me an email about, hey, here's the new murder mystery, I'm going to delete that email. I'm not going to open it up. Doesn't cater to me. If they're going to say that, hey, here's some bonus footage for The Office, yeah, I'd probably click on that link and I'd go watch it. Same thing with Amazon. Everyone ever got like a push notification from Amazon? Check out this product because you like this product. Same thing. They got to know me and I can make suggestions off of that. And we engage because it's catered to me, the individual. We go to Amazon, we go to Netflix because we want to be treated uniquely, not because we just want to go watch whatever it is they have. The digital version of Blockbuster. No, we're getting catered suggestions on what's unique to me. So if you have your database segmented, it's easy to create specific touch plans moving forward. So one example in my database, Two examples. We have 3 market centers in KW, or in the Georgia Legacy Group. I have a tag for each market center. So if I'm ever going to the North Atlanta office, or if I'm going to the Chat North office or the Roswell office, I could easily text every single person in the Roswell office and say, hey, I'm going to be at the office from 8 to 12 today. I hope to see you. And it will only go to the Roswell office because I have you broken down that way. Another way that I do this specifically for business, I have a family and friends tag. Is there anyone here that like talks to their family and friends way differently than they do like total strangers? Like I have a tone that is completely sarcastic with my family and friends. So what I've done with that is I have a family and friends tag, and I have a family and friends, what we call smart plan. And that smart plan is literally an email that goes out every month that says, hey, family or friend, it's Sam Jackson, your favorite person in the whole wide world. I just wanted to remind you monthly, this is your monthly reminder, that if you are ever thinking about buying, selling, investing in real estate, you are thinking of me first. I don't care what state you're in. I am able to connect with referral partners across the country, and you will use me if you have anything related to real estate. Love, Sam. P.S. This is a monthly reminder. You will get this again, the exact same email next month. P.P.S. I love you so much, yada, yada, yada. But like, I can have that tone because it's only going out to my family and friends. If I sent that out to the entire world in my database that has 1,300 people, I'd get a lot of unsubscribes. I'd get a lot of take me off of your mailing list, you cuckoo. But it's because I got to know those people and I tagged them, I segmented them, that I'm able to have a unique touch plan for them. And this goes with anything in real estate too. If you tag people based on the real estate need, are they looking for a first floor master? Are they looking for a lakefront property? If I have them tagged as those things, it makes it easier to market to them specifically later too. Cool. And then ultimately the last one, which is kind of a no-brainer, if you get engagement and business from it, tend it. If somebody's waving their hand saying they have a real estate need, make sure that you handle that appropriately. Cool. All right. And there are challenges. I'm going to skip through that. That's just fluff. All right. Level 1, level 2. We're going to go through this. I'm going to get into command here in a second. Okay. All right. So this is, I kind of jumped ahead. This is prospecting based, marketing enhanced. If you were to flip a triangle upside down, so if you went from, I'm terrible at triangles, like this to this, what would happen to the triangle? It would fall over. That's why we have our foundation as prospecting based. It is time intensive. And this is why we recommend it so much for new agents, is that it doesn't cost you anything. Elbow grease. Roll up the sleeves, go to work, pound the phone, pound the doors, do whatever you got to do. But it's time intensive, but you're being proactive and you get immediate results. If I'm knocking on doors, I can assume they own a home. Just like yesterday, if I'm putting a billboard out there from the marketing side, it's going to cost me money. It's passive, and I just need to do that long term. I will get results, but it's expensive. I don't recommend it right out of the gate. Be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Just a reminder, I'm going to plant this seed as well. It may not stick with you today. Gary Keller still prospects every day. The guy is a bajillionaire and he still prospects every single day. What changed is what he prospects for. He no longer goes after real estate needs. He's building a bench for other individuals to help him run his businesses. So over time, what you prospect will change, but you will forever now be a prospector. All right. Woo, baby. All right. So before we jump into this, this is the wonderful chasing squirrels, putting out fires. At the very, very bottom of this, you will see a warning for the TCPA Act. This is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Do not call people who are on the do not contact list. Cannot stress this enough, how big of a deal this is. I'm not sure that it's public information, but there are several major brokerages that are in some pretty big lawsuits right now that are in hundreds of millions of dollars. You don't want to get caught up in this. So make sure that you're always referencing the TCPA and the do not call list before you contact people. All right, so off of the legal disclaimer, this is the difference between prospecting and marketing. So whenever I say pick a main lever that's prospecting based, there are 21 of them up above. You don't have to do all of them. All of them may not sing to you. Like I said, door knocking, not my jam. However it may be for you. Contacting builders and banks, That may be your thing. If you come from a financial background, you may speak the same language as the financials. I had the opportunity and the luxury to work with Libby Sosinski out of the Pittsburgh office. She was one of my agents. She sells a home a day, 365 homes as a single agent. She does it $2,000 at a time because she works directly with banks. Every bank in that area gave her a listing. They were working on the REO. She was a specialist at it. There's a million different ways that you can get into real estate and to collect your commission, earn your commission. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody. You have an opportunity to put your own brand on this. I'm going to go ahead and leave this up here. Does anyone go ahead and take a screenshot or a picture of that? Go ahead. I'll give you 5 seconds.
Hey, really quick, Sam. So I keep on hearing that just scrub the do not call list. So say for instance, I'm with the PC team, and Bill and Luke, they provided me some lists for circle prospecting. What platform would I go to cross verify that some of those numbers and clients? Thanks for the insight.
Yeah, you got it. All right, everyone go with the screenshot and move on. All right, cool. All right, so this is the last part of the marketing part of your database, making sure that you're messaging it. You may want to take a screenshot of this as well. This is something that we call a 36 touch inside of Command. Inside of MREA, the red book, we called it a 33 touch. And basically that means, I'm looking at the bottom half here. That means that if I am working with people who know me, like we said, people that know me, that are willing to work with me, if I'm having two-way conversations with them, that two-way contact communication, and I put them on a 36 touch, we can predict our return on investment from that. And the basic principle says that if you have 100 people in your database, we can expect that if I contact each of those individuals 36 times a year, we can get some serious business from it. But this is what the 36 touches look like. 4 of those touches are, oopsie daisy, telephone calls. That's 1 phone call to each person in your database every 3 months. 26 touches are bi-weekly emails offering some type of information value to the consumer. Inside of Command, I'll show you this when we jump in there. This would be what we call bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. We take their address, we tell them what the home value is. We basically just give them like a CMA or like a generic CMA and an email every 2 weeks. They may or may not open it, but whenever it's serendipitous that they happen to be on real estate and you were the person that touched them most frequently, they're going to call you. This is the heaviest part. We make it really, really easy inside of Command. I'll show you how simple this is. 2 touches are events. Now, this one's been tough with COVID. We had to get creative with virtual events, but 2 touches every year should be events, get-togethers, parties, something that you can do belly to belly. Now, top agents inside of Keller Williams are doing probably 4 events a year, if not more. Some of them have even gone as many as once a month. And the reason for that is with your events, you're not just saying, hey, everybody, I'm having a movie preview at the local rented out movie theater, and people show up. What you're doing is you're announcing the event, you're emailing or texting or contacting your database, inviting them to it. You're going to acknowledge, hey, so glad you can make it. Hey, so sorry you're going to miss it. You hold the event, you follow up with the event saying, hey, it was so good to see you. Sorry that I missed you. And then it would be wise too, that every time you have an event, whether you're paying somebody to do it, or if you just have a friend with a good iPhone, have them take pictures of your event. Because then you can follow up and say, hey, it was so great to see you. I just got my photos back from my photographer. I think this was a picture of you. I want to share it for you and your family from the event. So with one event, we got 6 touches. Then you go from 36 to 41 pretty easily. And that's how you maximize your touches. So our top agents are doing, like I said, an event a quarter. Some of them doing it once a month. Then you have 4 touches that are promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, calendar, market report. This is just another way of saying we want 4 touches that are something tangible that they can hold. Now, this is something I skipped. Let me go back a screen here. I'll keep it on my screen, but I'll show you my note. When you're engaging somebody with a touch plan, you should have a goal or a standard. Real estate agents have sent magnets with like the upcoming football schedule on it, or here's my favorite recipe card, or here's some random drop by, like here's a pack of pencils because it's back to school time. Really non-valuable stuff is the nicest way I can put that. Your goal with your touch plan, even when it's something physical, should be something that makes your client smarter, makes them remember you, or solves a problem that they have. Makes them smarter, makes them remember you, or solves a problem that they have. Sending them seeds for their garden does not necessarily make you a better real estate agent, doesn't connect them to you. Sending them a recipe card doesn't necessarily check off any of those boxes. It may remember you as the crazy, obscure recipe real estate agent, but it doesn't help you get in a strong relationship and show your value, that you're a fiduciary professional helping them with their biggest transaction. Go. All right. And if you want to take a screenshot of this one as well, I'm not going to go through this one. This is another way to play the lead generation game that we kind of talked about yesterday. This is an updated version. This is how you can kind of decide that if I have 900 people in my database, I can multiply that number times 6%, multiply that number by 50%, and that will tell me that I have 27 opportunities available. That's how many potential sides I can get. If you need to reverse engineer that, like we did yesterday, if I have a goal that I need to get 50 units, I just change the multiplication to division. And that tells me that if I need to close 50 units, I need about 1,660 people in my database, contacts in my database. It's kind of a generic, not super intuitive version of our economic model, but an updated, easy slide there. Cool. All right. And here's what the research shows. So this is why we spent some time yesterday talking about the conversion rates. This is updated information for what could be released in the new model of the MREA. Every 12 contacts should equal 1 lead. Now, this is confusing because they use these words in reverse, and I thought I warned you yesterday that these could be switched. But basically what we're saying is that every 12 contacts could become somebody who is interested in setting an appointment with me. These words are really reversed. Every 12 leads become a contact. Every 5 leads becomes an appointment. So I have to have 5 people who are kind of waving their hand, who are engaging in my marketing, my prospecting, that will turn to an appointment. 2 appointments equal to closing. So this is where it's super important that you can play the numbers game or you can play the conversion game. If I can get better, if I can say that, hey, for every 8 contacts, I get 1 lead versus 12, this game becomes a lot easier. So you can focus on the numbers and growing a really large database. You can focus on the skills, or you can focus on both, and then you're making buku bucks. Cool. All right. Was this helpful? Can I go over anything? That was the last slide there. That's a lot. Give me 2 ahas as I switch into command.
Ford. That was amazing. That blew my mind. That's easy for me to remember. It's easy to establish a relationship. Once people see that you're not so much transactional and more just trying to get to know them. Because I do that myself. I brush people off. I'm like, oh, you're just trying to sell me something. Goodbye. Versus if you get to know me, then when you get to the point where you're selling, I'm like, of course I would buy that from you. You're so nice.
And honestly too, like, it's not even your fault that people brush you off. Like, whoever got the advice from like their parents of like, don't get in a car with a stranger, or like, don't talk to strangers. Like, we've been given advice since we were young kids that are now ingrained in us. It's why, like, whenever we go into like a department store and the salesperson asks you for help, no, just looking. Like, you're going to get the phone version of I'm just looking, or no, I'm not interested. People are going to brush you off. And sometimes it's just like throwing in just one of those pattern disrupts. Anyone smell popcorn?
We're not with you.
We wouldn't be smelling it over here.
I know. Did anyone just sniff? Did anyone sniff in the house?
No, I have really bad allergies.
But sometimes you throw in these pattern disrupts, you just break people out of their habits. So like if you can get somebody like whenever they're shutting you down, and you get them out of their head of like their routine. You smell popcorn? Like, no, you don't smell popcorn. We're in Zoom and miles and miles away. If you can find ways to break people of their habits, you can get in those conversations where we can have better forward conversations. You can break down those walls. I just figured I'd try that one. All right. All right. So I'll whoever had another aha, just go ahead and save it for the end here. I'm probably going to go over a little bit. This session is being recorded. So if you guys need to leave, because like I said, I appreciate you being here. I know you have some things to compete with on class. I'll make sure I get the recording up on the YouTube channel. Just pick it up at like the hour mark. But I'll try and go through this as quickly as I can without cheating you. I would hope that all of you have been through our process where Leanza, who's wonderful down here on our screen, has imported contacts for you inside of Command. Have y'all at least done that? You have some people in your database? Okay. If not, let us know. We've been more than happy to help get you some people in your database. We can do a bulk import. So like if you have people on your phone, we can, or like your iPhone, we can quickly get those into Command so you have a starting point. But the goal is that we want to have contacts inside of your database. This is the number one most important applet or tool that we have inside of Command for all of the reasons I just talked about for the last 40 minutes. Your database is the most important thing that you now own as a real estate agent. This is going to be that golden egg that you sit on for the next 20 years in real estate and you can sell for $1 million. Now, I'm pulling mine up. This is my real one. This is what Leanza and I do with our database. We tag people. You'll see that we have tags in here. Like I said, I have GLG, I have KW North Atlanta. We use something that's called the DTD2 that we group people by their last name so that we can make phone calls to them in a system. And then we have them marked as an agent, or you'll see them marked as ops if they're operations or marketing. We have all kinds of cool tags. And let me do last contacted. These are a lot of the people that we just recently added, and we've gotten better with our tags. You'll see that we've added some things too. I don't know if Julia's on the call today, but she had mentioned in our conversations that she's a mom and she's into travel. So that we've now tagged her as these things. And we intend to have conversations about those things when next time we bring them up. Instead of putting these things inside of notes and saying like, hey, Julie's a mom, we can talk to her next time about that. We create a tag because we can probably guess, we probably have several moms inside of our database. And then if we wanted to wish every mom in our database Happy Mother's Day, I could quickly pull this tag and do that. April birthdays is a tag that we use. Top 20 is one of our top producing agents. So obviously my top 20, whenever I pull them up, they get my 100% focus. We even tag based on personalities. We use a fun little book that we read called Surviving Your Serengeti that talks about the different personality traits and survival instincts of different animals. So I think if you were to pull me up, you would see that I'm a crocodile. Or did we take that down? Oh, did you take that off me? I deleted myself probably.
It should be there.
I may have deleted myself. But we have different personality types in here too, that like, it helps me understand how that person ticks. So when I have a conversation with them, like you had mentioned about getting to the point, I can tell if that's a person who needs to get to the point or if I can have a longer conversation with them. But you can create these tags to kind of figure out what it is that you want to do. But what I encourage you to do today, this is the most important thing. Let's add a contact together. I'm going to go ahead and do it on my screen. I'm going to click the add contact button up here. Inside of contacts, it doesn't matter if you have one or none. We're going to put yourself inside of Command. Leanza, is there anybody in the call that we don't have in here?
No, I think everyone's been through with me.
All right, so we're going to go with the fictitious character today. Put yourself in Command. Like, don't create a fake person like I'm going to. Put yourself in here. It's important that, like, before you go marketing to your database, that you test things on yourself first, just so that you can see what the client sees, so that you can see what the client feels as they go through your experience before you test it out on the masses. So what you're going to do is you're just going to type in a full name.
Hey, Sam, most of them are going to have their contact in there already.
Excellent. Okay. So put your spouse in, or somebody else that you have access to their email to, or just somebody close to you. All right. So I'm going to put in Bart Simpson today. I don't think that's anyone I've ever had. So I have Bart Simpson. Now, here's a fun fact. Bart Simpson's full legal name is Bartholomew Simpson. Bart is short for Bartholomew. Like, I don't know why I said that, but there's a madness to going informal with a database. I want to get to know Bart. I want to text Bart. I want to email Bart. If I were to contact, let's just say Bart Simpson's a real person. If I were to type out Bartholomew, or however the heck you spell it, because I believe that one day we're gonna get to the closing table and I need his full legal name, that's a very terrible, bold assumption of me. I wanted to put his legal name in because I'm assuming I'm getting a transaction with him. You're not going to get a transaction with the majority of your database. So the number one goal with technology is that we want to do relationship management. I want to get in a closer, intimate relationship with Bart. Not in any weird way. I just want to get to know him. But Bart is how he goes by. It's as if you were to put me in your database, you'd call me Sam, not Samuel. So when we go to do these things like marketing in our database, like the smart plan or the text messages, we have a way that we can enter a person's first name inside of a text. So I can send a mass text out to Bart and 900 other people, and it would say, hey, Bart, the market's hot. You're thinking about listing your home? And it would put Bart in for me. Now, in this case, I had put myself on a birthday smart plan. So that there's a trigger inside of command that says, like, it'll pull the person's first name in, it'll wish them a happy birthday on their birthday. I had forgot I had done it, and I had received a text message on my birthday that said, happy birthday, Samuel. And one, I forgot what number I had put in here. So I was like, all right, I don't recognize the number. And like, who the hell called me Samuel? Like, my mom doesn't call me Samuel unless I'm in like big trouble. And so like, it could be a good touch that you reached out and wished somebody happy birthday on their birthday. You totally missed the mark by going formal with their name. Call people what they want to be called as they go by. So like, you may have to clean up your phone records. You may have to clean up the HOA directory or whatever you decide to put inside of command. However you're getting your names, go informal. Call them what they want to be called in here. Okay. Then we're going to put in their email. Again, Bart Simpson. I'm butchering everything at gmail.com. Telephone number. And honestly, my goodness, this is where the agents of yesteryear stopped. They would get a name, they'd get an email, they'd get a telephone number, and that's all they would ever keep track of in their contacts. I'm telling you, the game has changed with technology. There is not an industry that has not been disrupted by tech. You are one of the first groups to be able to use tech as an advantage. So give the database the data it needs to provide insight to you. And this is where it's going to get really nerdy and really fun for me. Buckle up. It may not be as fun for you. So I can put in a lead source. So I can say, all right, so Bart is from a personal sphere. I can go ahead and type that out. I know Bart personally. I can create a custom source. It's going to ask me, hey, Sam, is that prospecting? Is that marketing? Is that events? No, that's relationships. I know Bart already. And then because I have a team with Leanza, I could go ahead and assign this person to Leanza on my team, which means that I have access to this person, as does Leanza. If you're not on a team, you won't have this category here. Don't worry about that one. Down below is also where I can do tags. Now, I'm no dummy because I don't want to mess up our database. This is where I have a fake tag already preloaded that I can pull in. However, if I wanted to create a tag that says he's a cartoon character, I just type out what the tag is that I want to create and hit create custom tag. I can also give it a color. And if you're using the Ford model, if you want to get to know what he likes to do for fun, recreation, and dreams, I know that Bart Simpson's into skateboarding. I may create a skateboarding tag. And maybe I'll make that one purple and add it. You can create as many tags as you want to get to know those people. Just a word of caution. Be very mindful of the tags you create. You don't want to create things that mean the same thing. So if I'm creating, let's just say, a buyer tag that somebody's interested in buying, you could accidentally create a buyer tag and a buyers plural tag with an S on the end. Now you have two tags that mean the same thing. And now that if you wanted to send a message to all of your buyers, you now have to remember to go pull both tags. So be mindful and be strict. When you create your tags, have a system for it. Ask yourself, how am I going to use this tag? Do I have one that already exists? And do I need to create a new one? Now, here is where the magic is going to happen. There is an add more information button down here. This is what's going to change the game for anyone who wants to be a technology enabled agent, meaning that you're going to leverage technology to provide you insight and omnipresent connectivity. When you click add more information, this seems so silly and simple. It's just going to ask us for more information. So the first one we have here is additional contact information. So when you click on this, it's going to ask you preferred method of contact. All right, so Bart Simpson's, I don't know, forever a teenager. He doesn't age, so let's just say he likes text. I can mark that he likes text message. I can put in additional emails, additional phone numbers. I can add as many of those as I need to. I can put in his home address. Now, I never watched The Simpsons. I'm sure there's probably a real address, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put mine in here. When I type in this person's address, it pulls up a little map that says, okay, this is where he lives, right? This is the Google thing, right? So when I click on this, it's gonna fill it in there. This is gonna be important. I'm gonna show you why whenever we're done. So now I have his address mapped out. I can check that it's the same as his mailing address. I can also now go grab this person's social media links. So what I want to do is go to Facebook and let me just search Bart Simpson. I'm sure there's probably a real person named Bart Simpson. All right, any people? All right, so this poor person in Chattanooga, Tennessee, unlike myself, Sam Jackson, who's never named after a celebrity, is named Bart Simpson. I can click on this person. I'm not friends with them. And yet I can go up here and grab this person's Facebook profile. I pulled him up. We are obviously not friends, not one bit. However, I'm going to come up here and copy this person's link, their Facebook profile. I'm going to take that back inside of command and paste it here. This is a very, very important thing that you're going to want to do with all of your contacts. Do not create a task for yourself. I'm not telling you to go through and do homework, to go through and add 1,000 people and just go grab their Facebook links and create homework. What I'm telling you to do is, as you're calling Bart Simpson or entering Bart Simpson, hey, Bart, it's Sam Jackson. Hey, man, I just saw, happened to be scrolling through Facebook and I saw your post come up about Steve Jobs, made me think of you and how long it's been since we talked. Just want to give you a call. While I'm ice breaking, because I haven't talked to this person in a while, I'm grabbing a social media link, copying it, and pasting it in here. Let Facebook be a reason for you to get an icebreaker about something they recently posted or a trip they had, or just let it give you some type of context and why that you wanted to reach out to them. But ultimately, the goal is I want to collect data. I want to get this information, this link, and put it in here. Why this is so important is that Facebook is creepy. Hopefully, y'all know that. I'm not breaking any news to any of you. Spoiler alerts. Facebook knows everything about everybody. We share too much on Facebook, quite honestly. So if I were to scroll through here and I want to wish somebody congratulations, let me see if I can find something really quickly here. There's always something exciting to say congrats to, right? Sorry, I don't want to scroll and make y'all sick. Let me see if it will work just once. Excellent. All right. So this isn't even a post about anything fun. But when I type in the word congrats, Facebook turned this orange. And that's not because whenever I hit the space bar that balloons are going to pop up and this is going to be some magical post. I don't even know what it's about. This is Facebook gathering information about the individual. And what it's doing is normally you'd say congratulations on something fun like an engagement or a job promotion, the F in the O things that people share on Facebook. I'm writing congrats to that. And what's going to happen is because I have this person's social media link, there will be a day and a time that I'm going to roll out. I'm going to wake up inside of command. It's going to say, hey, Sam, based on social media influences, we know that this person recently had a lifestyle change. They got engaged or whatever. And the fact that they have lived at this address for the last 8 years, which is 2 years over the average for people that live in that area. We have an 89% confidence score that this person is going to move in the next 6 months. Text him at 8 p.m. with this script. So it's taking the data that we gave it, that this person prefers text, that we know their address so we can look up their tax records. We know how long they've lived in a home. We match it up against averages and medians and all kinds of things. And then we look at their social media influences that tells us there's maybe a lifestyle change. Because what this is doing, this field right here, is giving permission for us to go look at every single individual's profile and see if they have a congrats, I'm sorry, I'm a condolences, whatever, on their page. It's going to alert you that person had a lifestyle change. It's like having a crystal ball inside your own database, and all you had to do is just go grab a social media link, throw an address in there. This is where you'll get some real value of technology helping you tell you who to call. And I know that I went over today, but this is the part where I see literally people melt on screen. This is game changing. Again, most agents stop at name, email, telephone number. If you get into the habit right now of adding these 3 more pieces of data, preferred method of contact, where they live. And by the way, in real estate, you probably want to know where they live, and just grabbing a social media link, you're going to have so much more to get out of technology than agents of yesteryear. Honest to goodness, I know a lot of you have talked about being overwhelmed, and there's probably some fear about, oh my goodness, what did I do? Like getting into real estate. I'm telling you, you will have a huge edge on all of the other agents who have been doing this for many, many years, just by being diligent with your data. Adding these 3 things that most agents aren't. Now, you can go in here and you can do about as well. So legal name, this is where I can type in Bartholomew. If I want to give myself a description, birthdays, home anniversaries, I can do that stuff. Spouses is also really important. Like we talked about with the doctor's office. I want to know how many people are tied to that one contact. So there's a relationship space here that I can connect in someone's spouse, mother, father, son, whatever. There's literally, I don't even know how many. There's all of these different connections that you can tie these relationships, including others. So if there's something that we didn't catch, you can still put it in there. So the way this works is that you have to have at least 2 people in your database for this box to work. What is it Lisa Simpson? Is that his sister? Yeah. So if I wanted to type in Lisa Simpson here, I can't do that because Lisa isn't in my database. So what I'd want to do is probably create Bart, leave this spot empty, save it, and then whenever I go to create Lisa, I'll be able to pull up Bart here. Just like if I wanted to make Leanza Bart's sister instead, she's in my database, I can pull her up. I can only pull contacts that already exist in my database. So you may have to leave this blank if you're putting in spouses or siblings or whatever, leave that blank, and then you can come back to it with the second person you add. All right, company name, job title, huge, also super valuable information. Stephanie, I'm going to pick on you because you're the only person still on camera besides Leanza. I know her life story. What did you do before real estate? Where did you work? And what was your title?
As a property management for Fogelman.
Okay. So if I were to connect with you and say, hey, how's the family? We have that conversation. How's the job? Hey, last time we connected, you were like what, a leasing specialist over at McCaffrey? What would you say?
No.
No, you correct me. And you wouldn't be upset, right? Like if you and I had some type of rapport, you'd be like, oh, no, I'm not working there. I was a, good memory. I was in property management, but I was actually a property manager at Fogel or Fogelman.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be like, not paying attention.
Yeah. Well, people do appreciate that you get it somewhat right. Like you have to hit the dartboard, not always the bullseye. But there's a tactic to this. When you get people's workplace wrong and their title wrong, just like what we experience here, there's pride in that. I'm proud of the title that I earned. Therefore, if you call me the manager of innovation technology instead of the director, I'm going to correct you. Not because I took offense to it, just because like, that's what you do. That's what we like. Again, those things like what we do as humans, like we'll correct you in our titles. So this is a good indicator. I definitely want to know what this person is, and I want to label it accurately. Property manager. Is that what you were correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would have you in my database as a property manager. But I may get that wrong, or I may just ask a generic question when we're doing the forward of, oh man, remind me, what are you doing again? You're at Fogel, right? What was your title? And I want to listen. I want to hear what they have to say, because that tells me, is their error going this way? Is their error going that way?
Gotcha.
Do they leave a company? Because again, people don't move for fun. They move because of family and occupation. So if there was a change in occupation, that could tell me there's potentially a real estate need without me saying, do you have a need in real estate?
Okay.
All I did was ask them about their job. Are you still with Fogelman? What is it?
Fogelman.
Fogelman? Are you still with Fogelman? Are you still property manager? How's that going? What's work from home life work like? Or how's, whatever. But people will correct you on titles. It's okay to get that wrong sometimes because you want them to correct you so you get the right information here.
Okay.
Because if you told me that you're no longer the property manager and you started your own business, I now get to have a residential conversation with you and a business conversation with you. What's your business space look like? Are you just working out of your house for your business, or do you need like a commercial real estate need? Y'all are licensed for both, if you didn't know that. Cool. And then custom down here as well, you can add custom fields. So anything else that we didn't mention in here, you can add. We have a bunch like that survey that y'all filled out for us with Leanza. We created custom fields with it. Favorite restaurant. If we were to give you a gift worth $100, what would it be? These are good ideas for closing gifts. You may also, I don't know if Leanza was in here working, I don't know if it's deleted out. I had on my personal account too. I had kids' names and pets' names. I didn't want to create a tag for it. I want to know that. So like I would have pets' names and I would create a field that said like Fluffy and whatever. Or I want to put their kids in here because I want to remember their names, but I don't want to create them as a separate contact if they're under the age of 18. I don't want them to ever accidentally get marketing from me. So if they're under the age of 18, I'll put them inside of a custom field versus creating a whole nother contact. Cool. And like, this seems so silly. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes that I want to point out to you on how you get the most out of technology. But like, if you just go through here and just enter in the information that you have, this stuff will work for you. But scroll down, put yourself in and hit create. Now here's the magical thing. Let me pull up Bart real quick. And I challenge you to do this with yourself if you haven't already. When I pull up Bart Simpson, if you remember, I typed in his home address, my home address, which was 345 Canyon Oak Way. What that did is you'll see that there's a tab in here that says neighborhoods. It mapped out my address to my subdivision. And now with that information, I am able to send this person a smart plan, that 26 biweekly emails that we need to send. I could quickly add this person to a smart plan. I may have done this already. Where's she at? My biweekly neighborhood nurture. I can hit select. And now this person will receive an email from me every 2 weeks that sends them information about the Northern Oaks community. Set yourself up on this. This is what it looks like, but send this to yourself. You have an email that goes out every 2 weeks as it loads. That here's your Northern Oaks neighborhood snapshot. There are currently 2 homes for sale at 515 and 500. If I'm a buyer, I'm interested in that information. If I'm a seller, I'm interested in that information. If I have lived in Northern Oaks for the last 10 years and I paid $395 for it, this email may interest me in selling my home. I just recently moved here, so this is not helpful for me, but it's still good to know. But again, give that information to command, and this is what it will pay out to you. I can take that information like Northern Oaks, create smart plans and all kinds of things from it.
Are we going to go over smart plans in one of your classes? Because I have to like cut, or we just should customize them per lead.
No, so the goal of smart plans is that you can send them to the masses and then the technology will customize it. So when that smart plan goes out, and I'll talk about this on Thursday.
Okay.
When the smart plans go out, it won't be a generic email that looks like it was sent to 1,000 people. It will put in Bart's information. It'll say, hey, Bart, this is your information from Sam. Here's the information specifically to Northern Oaks where you live. It's not going to say like, hey, here's the update for all of Atlanta. It's really specific catered information like Netflix, right? We're trying to segment them into, this is what we think is going to be the most important information for Bart, not everybody who signed up on your database.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any questions in relation to database? We'll handle the questions for the recording, and then I'll stop recording, and then we can go into any of the questions y'all might have. All right. So let me stop the recording then.